Hello Year 10 and welcome to today's lesson on soluble salts. Now this is a required practical, so we are going to do this over 2 lessons. So first of all I want you to write the date and the title and the LO and try the starter test please. So pause the video here and I'll continue in 5 seconds. Okay, number 1, what do you get when a metal reacts with an acid? So we did this last lesson. When a metal reacts with an acid, it produces salt and hydrogen. Number 2, can you extract aluminium by heating it in a furnace? How do you know? So no, you can't extract aluminium by heating it in a furnace. And the reason we know that is because aluminium is above carbon on the reactivity series, so a displacement reaction won't take place. So give yourself a mark out of 2 for those, please. Okay, the introduction. Soluble salts can be made from acids by reacting them with solid insoluble substances, such as metals, metal oxides, hydroxides, or carbonates. Okay, so if you don't remember, the word soluble means it can dissolve in water. If it's insoluble, it means it can't dissolve in water. The solid is added to the acid until no more reacts, and the excess solid is filtered off to produce a solution of the salt. Salt solutions can be crystallized to produce solid salts. So for the second sentence, it says that the excess solid is filtered off. We need to filter off that excess solid, otherwise we are not going to have a pure, clean sample of the salt, because there are going to be little bits of solid in there, and we don't want that. So that is why when we mix them together, so we've got a base and we've got a solid, when we mix them together, we put in an excess of solid so that we know everything is reacted, and then we don't want that excess solid in there anymore when we produce our crystals, so we filter it off. And then at the end, when we want to produce our crystals, we evaporate it. So we leave it to evaporate and then it will produce crystals. So quick questions I want you to answer. What does soluble mean? Why is the solid added in excess? And how can we make sure we've got a clean, dry sample? So I explained these all on the previous slide. So pause the video here and I'll give you the answers in 5 seconds. Okay, number 1, soluble means it can dissolve in water. So insoluble means it can't dissolve. Number 2, why is the solid added in excess? That is so we can make sure that everything has reacted fully. Number 3, how can we get a clean, dry sample? We filter out the excess solid, so we are just left with the salt solution. Naming salts. So the salt takes its name from the metal and the type of ion added, I said that weird, sorry, not ion added to the acid. So hydrochloric acid will produce chlorides. So hydrochloric produces chlorides. Sulfuric produces sulfates, and nitric acid produces nitrates. So you know from the type of acid how to name the salt. So at the bottom we've got an example. Magnesium plus sulfuric acid goes to magnesium sulfate plus hydrogen. Now I want you to try and complete the products of the reactions with common acids. I'm going to do the first one for you. So we have lithium and we have hydrochloric acid. So we put the name of the metal first and then chloride. Okay, so we've got lithium, chloride. If we were doing lithium and sulfuric acid, remember sulfuric acid creates sulfates and nitric acid produces nitrates. So the name of the metal first and then the name of the acid. So I'll do this one with you as well. So for lithium and sulfuric acid, it would be lithium sulfate. Okay, I want you to try and do the rest, please. Pause the video and I'll continue in 5 seconds. Right, answers are up now, so I want you to make sure that you've got all those correct, please. An overview of the experiment that we're going to be doing. So this is a required practical. It means you need to know everything there is to know about it because they could ask you about it in your exam. So a basic overview of it is that you react sulfuric acid with insoluble copper oxide to prepare an aqueous solution of copper sulfate. You separate out the unreacted copper oxide by filtration, and you prepare pure dry crystals of copper sulfate from the solution. So here is the method. I am also attaching a video on Show My Homework for you to watch as well. So what I want you to do is, I want you to write down this method, but not word for word, please. So in your exam, they might ask you, what is the method for producing a pure dry sample of salt? And you will need to write the basic method. So you need to know most of it off by heart. So what I want you to do is I want you to read through the method, please, and I want you to write it out in a way that is easier to remember. So a lot of this, there's a lot of writing. You don't need to memorize off by heart every single word. Write it in your own words in a way that's easier for you to remember, please. And I want you to also annotate it. So in brackets or an arrow coming off it, I want you to say why certain things are necessary. So where it says add the copper oxide in excess, I want you to put in brackets, this is so that everything reacts fully, etc. Okay, so I want you to write out the method, please, and I also want you to draw some diagrams to help you. And that is it for today's lesson. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at the evaluation and conclusion of this and do a few more questions about it. Okay, so that is all for today's lesson. I hope you all have a wonderful day.